Well, it's time for another Campaign Civic update. And I know many of you have been asking us to speak into this Israel-Palestine conversation, and we fully intend to do so. But for those of you who have been following us for a while, you know that it is our general mode of operation not to enter into the fray too soon, not to come at you with hot takes and knee-jerk reactions that may be very irresponsible. We want to make sure that we're being as faithful, intellectually honest, and constructive as possible, because this is a very serious situation and we need to address it as such. And to be frank with you, there's several folks that I think need to consider that same practice, because what I'm seeing from some Christian circles is belligerence, fake news, temper tantrums, bad theology, sneak dissing, and really just a lack of sobriety altogether. And again, I think that's irresponsible, because this is a very serious situation that needs to be thought all the way through and not just simplified in a way that I think doesn't do the history and prologue of this conversation any justice. So that's something we need to keep in mind. I see a lot of people using the idea of both sidesism to keep people from having a full analysis, to force people into basically saying this side is completely good and that side is completely evil. And I think that's wrong. I hear people using the idea of both sidesism to keep people from having any compassion for Palestinians. That to me is sinful. It makes sense to apply just war theory to this conversation. I just would ask that as we apply it, let's make sure that we're not starting at a point in history that just serves our narrative. That as we analyze it through just war theory, that we're not starting at a point that's somewhat arbitrary to serve our interest or the story that we want to get out there. So that's something to consider as well. But, let me get to my analysis, which is this. Hamas is dead wrong. What Hamas has done is not justified. The way they have killed Israeli civilians is completely wrong. The fact that they have gone about this in a terroristic way is wrong. And I don't think that should be justified. I don't think we should try to justify that or use other things to make it seem like it's not so bad. It is bad. And it is wrong. The Israeli people should not be treated in this way. And if Hamas has things that they think need to be addressed, if there's problems that if they think they're being treated unjustly, then they need to square up and address that in the right way, but not address it as terrorists, and also not use their own people as human shields. Not put the Palestinians from a bad situation into an even worse situation because of how they're dealing with certain things. So I think on a number of areas, Hamas is wrong and not justified, period. Now, that does not mean, as I said earlier, that the analysis has to end there. And my analysis won't end there. Because just because Hamas is dead wrong doesn't justify any and everything that Israel might do to the Palestinian people. And you have some people being very belligerent in saying that because Hamas is wrong, let's just completely destroy everybody in Palestine. Let's completely bomb Iran and all this other stuff. And that's a very irresponsible analysis. To even have a president go up and say that babies were getting their heads chopped off, which is not verified, is wrong. It's wrong. So my analysis is to say that, yes, Hamas is wrong. That doesn't just end the story and justify everything that might happen to the Palestinian people. That doesn't justify the list of human rights violations that Israel is accused of. And that's not Justin Giboney accusing them of human rights violations. That's coming from international organizations. And some of those accusations are hard to deny. People do not have to overlook that in their analysis. Do I think it justifies what Hamas is doing? No. But people don't have to overlook that. People don't have to overlook and not have any sympathy for how Palestinians are being treated, how many of them might be killed, how they've been treated before this. People don't have to overlook that. Just because you want to simplify it as much as possible and make this a very simple good people versus bad people dynamic, not everybody sees it that way. And so this is not about both sides being equivalent. It's not trying to say that what Hamas did is justified, because it's not. But to simplify this very complicated matter in a way that says they're good, they're evil, who cares what happens to the other side, is wrong. It is not that simple, and people don't have to treat it that way. We'll get a deeper analysis on the next episode of the Church Politics Podcast, but I want to make sure that we address this again in a way that we thought was so sober and responsible. See you soon.